Yeah, we did
Yeah,
have the basic automation in, but it
yeah,
really was just that. It was super basic. It got the job done, but we were just at a point to where it was getting too hectic, and we are
right,
spending so much time just trying to manage the automation. And
right,
as you said, I know you shouldn't spend that much time managing automation. It's meant to save you time. That's
right.
when we reached out to you. So
Awesome.
I'm Jesse with Greenhouse Emporium, and we had a couple issues we needed to solve that was taking us a lot of time, primarily our inventory updates and tracking our pins. Um,
Good
with
stuff.
the
So yeah, you get well, whatever. I'll tell you. I'll just ask you some follow-up questions about because I didn't
That
know
will
what a
make it
pin
so
was.
easy.
I didn't know what a pin was for the longest time, and then you explained that it was like a Pinterest thing, and
Oh,
so I was like, "What's a? What do you mean a pin? Like it just okay?" So what he's talking about is inventory manage or inventory updates from suppliers of greenhouses to WooCommerce, and then you had an article publishing process that you were using for SEO purposes and like marketing of the greenhouses. And so there was a whole sequence of that was taking a little bit longer than it needed to.
yeah.
So
Actually, with that one especially, it was taking an average about 30 to 45 minutes just to even review the work to find the old Pinterest pins to make sure that they're in the right order
mhm.
and they're not being repinned too often. And now with the current system, it just goes through and you could click on every article and see every pin listed to it, what stage it's going through. It just streamlined the entire process for uploading the social media pins.
Nice.
And I would
So you said it used to take 30 to 40 minutes. What does it take now?
now Natalie only needs a couple minutes to do to review the work. Before, yeah, because she had to go through, and then even the worker or the employee would have to go in and make sure that a pin was in each section. So, how to actually rephrase that? They'd have to go in and verify all the pins that were already on that page. And it wasn't really easily tracked in our current system. Like it was all convoluted and everyone were using Trello and the different task lines to try to keep it
Mhm,
all similar. But with
mhm.
Airtable and the way you guys have it set up now, she can go in when the VA tells her it's done and just review it within seconds. It takes no time at all now. Everything's
Nice.
linked. All pins are linked to the articles. Article are linked to the pins, and pins have the images right there, so you can see it all in one place.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So what was the team using before in terms of tools? They were using Trello, they were using some Google Sheets. What else?
Google Sheets and Trello primarily, and it was all most of the automation we previously had set up, which was just us doing it through Trello, was in Trello. So it'd go from like being like, oh, this week is these are due here, and then it would automate and go to over to another. What are those columns called? It'd move
Like
over to another
in
column.
Trello, like a board, or not a
Yeah,
board. Was it a board?
no, the board is what you're
Board is like
on,
the
and then
whole
it,
thing. Whatever.
yeah.
As you can tell, we're really good at Trello too. The things, the vertical things.
Yeah.
A list.
So I
It's a
should probably
list.
just pull that
It's a
up to make it
list.
easier.
It's a list for sure. It's a list. It's a list, a
Yeah, so
card, and a board, and a workspace.
it would just
Yeah.
move from list to
Yeah.
list, and then these lists were like hundreds of tasks long with each pin, and it just got so convoluted. It would take, yeah, 30 to 45 minutes just to do a review or to make sure everything was where it was supposed to be. And even after all that time of reviewing, when it came time to where you guys moved everything over to Airtable for us, we still saw a ton of errors that we missed or things that were like double posted or we thought were posted but weren't actually on the page because it wasn't actually verifying. So your system actually goes in and checks our page and makes sure the pin is there. Before we relied on a VA to go and uh, count them, and their count could be off. Now it's everything's just computers tell us it's good to go, and we can trust that it's there. So it makes it,
Awesome.
yeah, way easier.
Nice. Nice. So it was a combination of one managing the pins and the posts, and then the second, and maybe Ryan, you can sort of dive deep into the sort of auto QA checker and just making sure everything goes in the right place.
Yeah, I mean it's well, so Jess, I mean you have a computer science degree, Jesse. So like this stuff. This should not be me explaining this, but Jesse has a computer science degree, but makes way more money drop shipping greenhouses. So that's what he does. You get some boat
Actually learn
money.
more from Ryan now.
There you go. Anyways, yeah, I mean, basically we're interfacing with with WordPress to upload the articles. The bulk of the system is organizing data in Airtable, right? So that allows like different entity types. So you have pins, you have articles, you have different stages for that article as it's going through. And of course, pins themselves, the individual pins can be approved, and then like images and stuff attached to it, so that there's, I mean, you can do things like making sure one entity is not reused in more than one place, doing
Even the statuses on there.
tracking on
So
the
you have
statuses.
it
Yeah,
to where it does that QA, but the statuses of where each pin is at, just being able to look at the article and see what status the pin is on, like repost in 72 hours,
right.
or this one's coming out. And just the scanning the website and pulling in that information, if we miss something, it shows up and it's automatically added. It's just so much easier to track now with uh Airtable. Yeah, just lost
Yeah,
my word there.
yeah. I mean,
So much
like,
easier.
I think that like the thing that was interesting about your stuff is like you had the background in computer science enough to know like this shouldn't be a person doing this stuff, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, you got to a pretty like scaled process before you reached out. You know, like you were trying to automate something when you're doing like one article per month, right? So you already
Yeah.
had the system working. You already knew that if you crank out articles, you're gonna sell more stuff, right? So yeah, I mean, it's what else are we talking about? What else are
So
we
we
talking
did
about?
have, yeah, we
Yeah.
did have the basic automation in, but it really
Yeah.
was just that. It was super basic. It got the job done, but we were just at a point to where it was getting too hectic, and we are
Right.
spending so much time just trying to manage the automation. And
Right.
as you said, I know you shouldn't spend that much time managing automation. It's meant to save you time. That's
Right.
when we reached out to you. I'll say the other thing we really did was, and the first reason we reached out was inventory. And that one was even a bigger money saver versus time saver. Well, every time you save time, you're saving money. But we're spending an average of like 20 to 50 bucks a week to make sure the inventory was on time or accurate. And even then, VAs make mistake. It happens. People are human, but you'd have a product that could have been sold, but it was marked as out of stock until the next week that it was back in stock. And now with this, we don't have that at all. Even if the supplier goes in and changes how they submit or track their inventory or send the inventory update to us, the system in the background detects the changes and pulls it all in for us, or lets us know when we need to adjust something.
Yeah, we scan a Google sheet, or a few Google sheets actually. Look for a key. Actually, the interesting thing about your system as well is you have the SKUs from the clients, or the supplier rather, and then internally you have combinations of like those two SKUs. So that was interesting about how you do things as well. That must have been a pain in the ass for your VA to do it.
And then we had to have our sales guy would go in and double check, because obviously if something is missing,
right? Because like you just
can't sell it.
There's no sales, right? Yeah.
And that was just, it was just all a convoluted mess, and we wouldn't even notice. Well, we should notice, but you can, out of hundreds of products, if a big seller's put is out of stock, you don't notice it for a few days, and then all your ads stop running, everything just turns off with that key thing happening there.
Right. No, makes a lot of sense. Is there anything else that people that are considering working with us should know? How did you like the team? Obviously, not everything was done by me and Ryan. The team was actually working on this. Were the team fast enough, or do we need to intervene on certain managements?
Actually, that is something my partner and I talked about this morning. One of the biggest things we liked is that actually, I have it written right here and underlined 4 or 5 times. You listened. It wasn't us. You weren't trying to fit us into your own automation technique. It was, you heard our problems and you worked around it. And then as we were going through the process of automating, you'd ask and clarify questions and actually pointed out, we're like, hey, this might be better, or this would be better, and just made the whole process so much smoother. Yeah, and like you kept us, you verified our needs basically throughout the entire process. And every time, like, say we had a little change because we thought we wanted it this way, you guys had no problem fixing it to make it to where what we actually needed. So again, you weren't trying to fit us into your system. You found what we needed and automated around what we wanted. And that was really the best part. We felt heard. Like, I hate using that, but we felt heard.
It sounds such like a nice like woo woo thing. Like, let's go to a safe
yeah.
place.
Yeah, they
Love
provided a safe place for me to
We're
talk
the-
about my
We're
innovation.
we're really the feel good technology company. You know, we're here at Ops Kings. You're not customers. You're a family. We should
Yes.
stop. We should start scripting our. We need to start scripting our these things in like a.
Better.
We need to start. So we should not be allowed to speak on camera, Tony.
Well, that's why
You're
you have the
doing.
editor
You're
to
doing
come in.
great. Jesse and me are a nightmare. Yeah, we should really. Yeah,
It's
if
fine.
we had
It's fine.
HR, I
it.
would be fired for sure.
ASAP. ASAP.
All right.
Good stuff, guys.
Yeah.
Jesse, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for
I-
the time.
Appreciate you, dude.
Loved having you on, and hopefully you have some more problems for us to fix down the line as well.
I actually do have another one we're working on right now. We're
yeah?
trying to get all the scope of it together. Basically going into our ticketing system, we want to be able to link it a little better without all our system in there is very convoluted. So that's going to be the next thing we'll be reaching out. We want to get our
Cool.
scope of the project together
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
more before we reach out.
Well, yeah, if you want us to do like the whole company brain process and like ask some of those questions that might elicit some of those answers, let us know.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Oh,
because like that's
there.
kind of like what we like. That's the benefit of seeing the process end to end is we can go, wait a second, like you said you got this information here, where do you use it? Or you do this here, how do you get that information over here? Or does this happen after that? Sometimes that helps to
And see, that goes back into the listening. You're like, hey, you don't need to come up with the whole scope. You don't have to know everything. You can just reach out and
yeah.
they'll walk you through. They know more of the in-between stuff you might not think about.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think that's like the whole purpose of the company brain process, right? Is to find those things out. Like otherwise, it just like, I mean, honestly, like we can develop software better and faster because like I'm a software guy, right? So
Yeah.
our like, whereas if somebody else went to like somebody on Upwork, even their best ability to describe something, they would end up with something that would be inaccurate or incomplete or whatever.
Exactly.
Because they don't know how to talk to like a software person to actually describe that scope. Where our ops team comes in is in like actually providing value at that level and doing a deeper analysis at that level to improve the process itself before we add technology on top of it and like coming up with those ideas for the technology. So yeah, I mean, we can like that'll be a faster, depending on how urgent this problem is, it'll be faster for us to do that process to then get the scope in the first place rather than waiting for you guys. Cause like we'll have to kind of honestly we'll have to do that anyways, whether you want us to or
have
not,
to sit down with
just
Trevor
to like
and,
actually
go through it.
just to like clarify the process anyway. So
Cool. Yeah,
Yep.
I'll get an appointment set up when we get back next
All right.
month and
cool.
go from there.
We'll get
Sweet.
after it. Awesome, Jesse. Appreciate
All right, Jesse.
the
Yo,
time.
appreciate it, dude.
Hey, no problem. Y'all have a good one and yeah. Thanks.
You as well.
Thanks again. Later, guys.
Thanks for all the money.
Yeah. Thanks for saving money. All right, guys.
All right.
Later.
All right. See it.